Before we started working together, I was making around $1,000 a month. Everything has changed. I've honestly tripled the size of my business already. I have more than double the amount of clients. Again, this year, my clients have renewed double the amount that they did last year. And this year, so far, I'm around at an average of $5,000 a month.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm very, very excited here because I am with Mira, one of my clients. She is a business coach and she's going to share with us about her journey and about her growth. So, before we begin, I would like to pass the mic to Mira. She can share a little bit more about who she is, what she does, and get the conversation flowing.
Thank you, Sophia, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm really excited to share my experience and my growth as a coach, and I'm very thankful to be here and to share that. So yes, my name is Mira. I'm a business and mindset coach, and I'm originally from Lebanon. I'm currently based in Dubai. And in terms of my work experience, what kind of got me here is I used to live in Canada, and I was working in a corporate job, which I really enjoyed in my first 2 years out of university. And in that job, what I loved was my consumer behavior part of the job. So I was really interested in learning about people, how they act, what causes them to buy things, those kind of things. But I still felt like I wasn't on my right path. I then moved to New York and got another job, which also had aspects in consumer behavior. It was more of a corporate job and I was coding on the job a lot. And I had this moment where I felt like, I was coding, I was doing a fine job, but I felt that my personality, my unique strengths, what made me who I was, didn't really transfer into my work. So I had this feeling of why am I spending 5 days a week doing something that doesn't really flow with me? So it took me about 2 years of soul searching, as they call it, to find something that really resonates with me. And that's how I came about coaching. And so, while I was working full time, I started life coaching, and that's now evolved into business coaching and really empowering others to find what they truly are passionate about, what their skills and strengths are, and pursuing that into a business.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing. And I'm very, very excited to go in depth about that transition, how you got into coaching and how you're growing your business. And one of the reasons I'm really, really excited to talk with you is because you had one of the most amazing results and growth from my client base this year. Your growth was astonishing. Your results were great. And the transformation I observed in you as a coach, as a CEO, as someone that runs her business is astonishing. So I'm really, really proud. And I would love to hear a little bit more about that shift, that transition, because it's really, really important to communicate what you said. Like so many people are stuck into that unfulfilling 9 to 5, that their skill set is being undervalued and underutilized, and you were there. And then you said, okay, coaching is good, coaching is important. So tell us a little bit more about the transition that you made.
Yeah, so what happened was that, at the time I actually didn't know what coaching was, and it was, maybe 6 years ago now. So coaching wasn't booming as it is currently. But what I really focused on was I did kind of all those online quizzes and tests of what career path suits your skills. I really read all the self-help books. So without knowing it, I was kind of like building myself as a coach, but I was really just trying to help myself. And then, I overheard I overheard the term life coach from someone, and then I was like, oh, what is that? I looked into it, and I remember it was I was like, okay, let me see if I find a program that I can just try and see where this goes. And I found a program, and it was, I remember, $2,500. And at the time, I was really scared to make an investment like that. And so I was like, okay, I need to give this a shot because I liked the life it could give me. I liked the helping people. So not just the work itself, but also, the way it could fit into my life and the future I wanted. So I invested in the program. I didn't tell anyone I was doing this because
Wow.
I didn't want anyone to stop me because I just had that inkling. And as soon as I started, day one of the program, I knew this is where I'm meant to be. Wherever it goes, that I'll figure out. But I knew that it was the right stepping stone to take.
Wow, yeah, that sounds powerful. And Kelly, can you tell us a little bit more about your business?
Yes. So right now I'm really focusing on helping mostly women who are trying to start a business or they have a business, but they're trying to scale it. So what I've noticed is that there are a lot of women who are experts in their field. So they could be fashion stylists, they could be graphic designers or real estate agents. It really doesn't matter what industry, but they're not entrepreneurs and they don't have the entrepreneurial skills. So what I noticed is really missing is that piece to help them go from experts to businesswomen and selling their services on their own time, at their own, how they want to do it, how they want to run their business. So that's who I focus on working with now and really helping them and empowering them to learn how to sell, know their worth, and really structure them in a way to create a business and start selling.
Thank you for sharing that. Sometimes I observe also in my work as a coach that many coaches experience something and then they go out there and help others. For example, I help other coaches grow their business like I helped you. Do you see yourself in what you offer, in the support that you give? Do you see an old version of yourself like these women that you're helping?
I definitely see an old version of myself in my clients and the women I'm helping. And I think that's what makes it so powerful because I'm not speaking to them as a client, but I'm speaking to them from a place that I know exactly where they are. And I truly understand their fears, their limiting beliefs, and what's holding them back. And I think because of that, they also trust me and are coming to me to help them grow.
And can you tell us a little bit more about where were you about 6 months ago when we first started working together?
Yeah, I would love to. So 6 months ago, I felt like, at the end of 2024, I felt like my business wasn't moving. So I started coaching in 2022. That's when I got my certification and it was moving, but very slowly. And, by the end of 2024, I felt like I need to shake things up. I felt that it wasn't being treated as a business. I was treating it as kind of almost like a hobby, but it wasn't making as much money as I would like. And I felt like it was almost stagnant. So I was like, okay, I need to really move the needle here or I move on. So I gave myself this like either you go all in here or you do something else because it just wasn't moving the needle for me. And so I said, okay, I need to invest because I know that anytime you invest, you're putting your money where your mouth is. And so that's when, I found you and I decided, okay, Sophia, I need your help. I need to grow my business and I need to become an entrepreneur and not just a life coach. And so once, I guess that's it for that part.
Good. And then, okay, we start working together. What were the first changes that you've observed in your business?
Yeah, so I think what happened was I had a lot of ideas of how to grow the business and how to move it, but I lacked a lot of confidence. And I remember on our first call together, Sophia asked me, how are your selling skills? And I immediately was like, she caught me because I always, was very scared to sell. And I felt like, I'm a life coach. I'm here to help people. Like, I don't want to force anyone. I don't want to intrude. So when I say it now, I feel, oh, that there's no confidence there. So why would someone hire me if I'm speaking like that? What really I needed help with was, of course, a lot of strategy and structure, but deep down was confidence and really believing that, first of all, my worth and that I can really help people, but they also need that push. So they also need me to help them buy and to help them, invest in their business. And so I think that one of the main things that really moved the needle was building my confidence in selling and my pricing. And also, what really, really helped is focusing my target a lot more. So I think before we met, I was a life coach and I was really general. So I was helping anyone and everyone with whatever they needed. And it was fine and I was enjoying it. But what I noticed is that when someone asked me what I do, I couldn't really be clear. And that
Mhm.
already is a missed opportunity. That already is someone who now can't work with me because they don't really know what I do. So what helped was when, as soon as we started working together, one of the main things we did was focus my target. And again, that helped with my confidence that I can help entrepreneurial women.
Fantastic. Yes, having that niche is really, really important. And looking at where your business is now and your journey now, like what has changed?
Oh my gosh, so much. Everything has changed. Just to put it simply, like I was reflecting on, where I am today in this year in 2025, compared to the past years of starting my business. And I've honestly tripled the size of my business already. And we're not even at the end of the year yet. I have more than double the amount of clients I did last year. And again, we're not at the end of the year yet. So I've really, with your help and with the structure and strategies you gave me, I also have been able to expand my portfolio. So I don't only do one-on-one coaching now, but I also do group programs, which I didn't have that much confidence to do before. This year I've already had two group programs.
Business has tripled. That is huge. It's There's still time left for this year, so this is not the final one. We should definitely have another conversation end of the year and see what has
Yeah.
shifted. And you are now serving more people. You're serving more than half the amount of people that you did last year. So how does this feel when you're a coach and you're here for the mission, not only for the money? How does it feel to be serving double the amount of people compared to what you did last year?
Yeah, I really love how you said that. And it truly, like, what feels so good and so empowering now is the amount of people I've been able to serve. So I see, anyone who comes to me, anyone who comes to a coach is ready for change, and they're looking for help and they're looking for support. So just seeing that and feeling that in someone already, makes me feel so good that I'm privileged to help them achieve what they want, and helping them believe that they can do it so long as they set their mind to it, they have the support they need. It just feels amazing also to see the outcomes of my clients and to see them achieve things that they didn't believe was possible 2 months ago.
And back then, did you believe that this level of success would even be possible? And what shifted in your mind in terms of beliefs in order to achieve these results?
Yeah, so back then, before I got a coach, before I started working with you, I knew there was a lot of success in the coaching world, that I see it, of course, all over social media, and I was seeing all these, high numbers, and I knew it was possible, but I thought it would take me 5 or 6 years at least to get there.
Wow.
So what really shifted was that, and I actually remember before I started working with you, I was telling someone, "Oh, I can't wait to charge these prices." I said that. And then as soon as we started working together and I shared with you my packages, you kind of told me, you're not charging for your worth. You need to increase your price. You need to enhance the program in a way that reflects this new price. And that was the price I thought would take me 5 years to get to. And within, I think, 2 months, I already made 3 or 4 sales in my higher price. So it was really that, the amount of time I needed to get there was shortened by a lot.
Of course. And how did it feel to communicate your value?
Initially, it was hard. I
Mm.
remember, in our first few calls together, I had to share with you my new price and my new package. And it's kind of, I guess, like leveling up. There's like the body feels some fear in sharing these higher numbers and sharing my price. But now I'm so confident, and especially because I'm confident in my work and in the results my clients get. And, that's reflected in renewals. Again, this year my clients have renewed double the amount that they did last year. So it makes me feel, that it is worth the price because they're coming back and they are seeing success.
And once you build your business in that level that you have right now, what are some rituals and systems that you have implemented in order to support your clients?
That's a good question. So my internal systems, or more like for them?
Your internal systems, but also things that you help them with.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I would say, with all my clients, initially before we start working together, we do an intro call just to make sure we're aligned and we see eye to eye, and to make sure I can help them and that they feel comfortable working with me. So that's a non-negotiable with anyone that I work with. And then, because it's such a personal process building a business, and the first step is always the mindset piece. So I kind of, it's all custom depending on where the clients are. So sometimes a client comes to me and they already have a business, it's just they want to do better. And so it's different what they need to do. Maybe they need more routines or more systems or more support, to scale, versus someone who comes to me with an idea and a passion. Them, we start focusing on mindset initially. So believing that they can do it, uncovering any limiting beliefs they have in order to move past them and to start and be able to build their business. So it really depends on who it is. But I would say, like, the baseline is what I always communicate is that I'm here. So I always provide more or less unlimited support. So anytime there's a doubt or fear, they can message me and reach out. And I'm there kind of as like their partner who's not taking any share in their business.
Love that is great, and you make it personal and people resonate with you at the end of the day, so they see your value. So what would you say to a coach that is starting right now or has their business for a while, they're stuck below or at $1,000 per month and they want to start having consistent $5,000 months? What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, actually, so before we started working together, I was making around $1,000 a month. And this year so far, I'm around at an average of $5,000 a month. So I've seen that growth personally 5 times in just, a couple of months. So, and I do believe once you start growing, it will be exponential. So what I would say to any coaches out there is to invest in a coach. And, you can't preach what you don't do, right? So, so long as you're constantly investing in someone who reached the milestones you want to reach, that's how you can get there. You don't need to reinvent the wheel and spend 5 years trying to get there. You can just invest in a coach and you guaranteed your money will come back.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and it always works like that. From my personal experience, I see it also in my clients. And how does it make you feel to think of Mira a few years back in your full-time job in Canada, in New York, coding in your desk, and Mira right now, you can share where you are as well. How does it feel?
Yeah. So reflecting on, me working in a corporate job, counting my vacation days, seeing when I can travel to see my family, or, counting my days off versus now, I'm currently in Spain working from here for a few months. It's honestly a dream. And not to say, it's not that it's an easy road to get here, but it's truly possible so long as you know what you're doing, you stay focused, um, but you have a plan. Like, it's not, I always like to, like, what I really love about coaching is that it's very action oriented. So we don't just sit and dream about what we want, but we constantly are working towards it.
Right, right. So right now you're in Spain, you serve your clients, you're with your laptop, enjoying the summer, and that would probably not be possible. It was a possibility back then, but you made it happen through action and consistency. And shall we share a little bit more about the secrets of, like, how did you made it happen? How did you manage to get more than 25 new clients in this year already? What were some of your techniques, strategies, and quick wins? Let's share that too.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So I would say one secret of mine was honestly investing. So what I noticed is that when you have that urge that, I want to grow, I'm ready for serious change, and you feel it, just invest and don't tell people. Because I noticed, maybe your loved ones or your family or whoever it is, like, they don't understand that inkling inside you. So sometimes they don't understand what coaching is, or they don't understand, whatever program you're trying to join. So it's easy for them to maybe say it's too expensive, or is it worth it, or etc. But what I noticed is, like, anytime I made a big change in my life, I did it without telling people and without consulting others, because it's inherent within me, and I just felt it. So I would say that's one point of advice, is to just go for that inkling that you have.
That is beautiful.
Thank you. Another secret. I don't know about secret. I'm trying to think.
How about this? Like, can you tell us a little bit more about, okay, we started working together and we work a bit on your niche, on repositioning yourself. You already have some online presence sharing things, but how did you manage to get people to work with you?
Yeah, so I would say the confidence, like how I got people to start working with me, is one, my increased confidence. So after, investing in coaching with you and building up my confidence, my, learning what I can truly offer them, I think that was really reflected in my intro calls. So in my intro calls, it's really, I get to know what they need, how I can help them, and I share that, and then I share my price there and then. I don't, send it later on an email or in a text, because I noticed that also doesn't project confidence. And that's kind of what we discussed. It's about being confident about your pricing and your offering. And then another, big tip which you taught me was to always have a follow up, because sometimes, people hear a price and they're intimidated, and, rightfully so, and they need time to think about it. But because our mind, wants to keep us small, if we go back and think about it, we're more likely going to say no. And I've seen that in my experience. So it's always about keeping contact with someone who you felt can really benefit from your work, and then having another call with them. And one thing I really learned was that not to be worried about giving my time. So it's okay to give 2 free calls or 3 free calls to someone. It will come back to me either from them or from someone else. So that was a big help and learning for me.
Yes, yes, that makes sense because it's all about understanding the person and really seeing if it is a fit. And sometimes, as a coach, when you're speaking to someone, can you feel whether you can help them or not?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, as a coach, what a question people ask me quite often is, how, like, did you ever get into a point where you couldn't help someone? And I reflected on this because I remember during my training, whatever, 4 years ago, I was so worried someone would come to me and I couldn't help them and I would have to send them to someone else. But so far, I have to say, in my experience, 4 years in, I haven't had someone who came to me that I couldn't help. And I don't know, maybe it's just that everyone can use a coach, or maybe the right people are coming to me because my messaging is reaching them. But I really have not had one call or one, potential client who I couldn't help.
Yes, that's fantastic. And how does this work when it comes to people coming back to work again with you? Do you have like client renewals in your business?
Yes. So this year alone, I would say about, let's say, 30% of my clients have renewed so far. Many are still, in the beginning program, but I think that's a really good reflection of the work we're doing together. And it's, when a client renews, we don't just go back to the beginning, right? Basically, they're leveling up. So our work together levels up. So there's constant growth that can be done. The same way, working with you, we're already in our renewal as well, because I see the value and I want to continue growing. And I know that you can help me with that.
Yeah, and I'm very excited for the 2.0 version of your growth, honestly. But what
Yes,
you're saying
me
is
too.
huge because 30% of your clients renewed. This practically means that one third of your business comes from existing business. And this is very important because most coaches and new coaches or stuck coaches, they feel like, how am I going to be getting clients? But a great way
Yeah.
is serve the people that you have and you're going to be having guaranteed clients. It's about delivering value.
100%, definitely, yeah. And one other thing I noticed about getting new clients is that, even with social media, I think it's important to touch on, how important online is. And that was actually one of the first things you told me, was that online presence is where true growth can come in. Because I was trying to do a lot of in-person things, which are valuable, but online presence is just a global reach. Like, the possibilities are endless. And what one, learning I had for myself was that the numbers aren't that important. As a coach, I don't need, 30,000 followers, right? I need
Right.
10, 20, 30 clients. So one big learning is that just serve the people who, whether it's 100 people or 15 people, it doesn't matter. It's so long as that I'm, remaining authentic to myself and providing value to those people who resonate with what I'm sharing.
Fantastic. Yes. So would you say that someone with less than 3,000 followers on Instagram, can they monetize?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you can monetize with 10 clients, you can monetize with 5 clients, right? So I think the number, it doesn't matter. And I actually think that there is value of being a bit smaller because you're a human. There is, like, I would be intimidated to DM a coach that has 100,000 followers because I don't feel that they're going to be talking to me directly. So I do think there's value in being more concise and more specific.
And fantastic. And that makes complete sense for that stage of the business and the people that they reach out. And you
Mm.
mentioned global presence and being online, but you also do in-person events. What are some wins that you had these years? Because I know for a fact that you're based in Dubai and you did some big workshops. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was amazing. So I love in-person events because again, there's like something really special about, human to human connection. And then it builds a lot of trust in others, in me. So I tend to do workshops in the community, sometimes for free. So for Women's Day, I did a handful, and just to bring people, like-minded people together. So also, they get to meet each other, but kind of empower them in a sense. And then what's always good at the end of a session is, I share with them my contact details, and they share with me theirs. So then in the future, if I'm trying to promote something or sell something, there are people who already had an interaction with me. So there's already that trust built with me.
That's fantastic. That's great. And you have this combination. And as you said, once you build a business that is profitable and it's growing, you have the opportunity to also give back to the community, like you did for Women's Day, which is something that I personally feel it as a coach. And I'm sure that out there, many coaches get into the field to also give back and serve.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think as coaches, it's one of our duties to give back.
Yes, that's beautiful. And what are some of the next steps or next things that you're looking up to do or achieve in the upcoming months?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm in the phase where I'm really ready to level up. And so what I plan to do, for the remaining part of the year is to launch at least 2 more group programs. So expand my offering even more. I noticed there's a lot of value in group programs and bringing people together. And then also for my, one-on-one clients, I plan to continue to grow and get more clients. So really the overall plan is growth.
Beautiful. And I'm very, very excited to support you there. Any other things that you would like to share with the people that listen to us or coaches that they are into that phase of growing their business?
Yeah, sure. I would say, any tips for a coach who's growing is that it is hard. I think, when doing coaching training, you feel so empowered, you're ready to go and serve the world. And then you get in the world and then there's the gaps. So people don't really necessarily see the full value of coaching sometimes. So there's still like that education piece. So I felt, I jumped into the world so excited and then I felt like sometimes like crickets. So my tip would be to really treat it as a business and serve it as a business, not just a skill you have on the side, because it can be that, but it can also be really a powerful business. And so how do you treat a business? You invest time, you invest money into it, and you really give it your all. You hire people, you delegate all these things, trusting that it will come back.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the value that you shared. I'm very excited and to follow through your journey and see the growth. And thank you very much for being here with me today.
Yeah, thank you so much and for your constant support as well. I really am so grateful and I really appreciate it.